Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're obviously going to be going over the 4-month ownership update on the 2020 Ford Raptor. Now, instead of just sitting in my driveway all day and telling you guys about the Raptor, I thought it'd be better if I actually just show you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the Raptor out today in a bunch of different conditions, on-road, highway, off-road, all that kind of stuff, and basically just talk about how it drives, how the Raptor's held up, fuel economy, just pretty much everything. So let's get into it. We of course have to start this adventure at the gas station, and if you're wondering how much it costs to fill it up, it's about 84 bucks, and that's pretty typical for the Raptor. The fuel tank is actually over 30 gallons, and so you can imagine it's gonna be pretty expensive when you fill it, but you don't have to fill up as often. And if you're wondering what my fuel economy's been, well, 12.9, which is worse than what the Rebel got. And I mean, I feel like that's pretty good for off-roading and a little bit of highway use and all that. And to anyone that says, oh, well, I get 18 miles per gallon in my Raptor, you do probably, because you don't drive it. So if you're getting 18 miles per gallon in your Raptor, start taking it off-road, start driving it, start having fun with it instead of just not driving it. In this first part of the video, I just want to talk about the driving around town. So what I mean by around town is just places that obviously have traffic lights where you have to stop and go. And today's probably not the best example because there's not a lot of traffic here on Sunday. Everyone's in church or just chilling with their family or whatever. So traffic's always a lot lower volume on Sunday, but maybe that kind of helps out for this video. But in terms of my experience so far around town with the Raptor, the ride quality is actually pretty smooth. It's not as smooth as what my Rebel was. So if you're looking for a smoother riding experience with an off-road truck, then the Rebel was definitely significantly better compared to the Raptor, just around town driving. The one thing that I have noticed is the Raptors now come with the auto stop start, which if you hate that system, it could get pretty annoying driving it around town because it pops on all the time. Even when it's super cold outside, like below 30 degrees here in Utah, it still will do that system. And so I can understand how some people could get frustrated with it. I don't really mind it all that much. The one thing that I have noticed is it's pretty quick to act, and so it'll just instantly turn on, and I love it when people do that kind of driving. I should just do a video series where all I do is just videotape Utah drivers and how they drive. But yeah, I mean, just as how it normally drives around town and all that kind of stuff, it's been super solid. It's smooth. It's not the smoothest, but it's relatively smooth. You can comfortably daily drive it. And from like a maneuverability standpoint, the turning radius on the truck does kind of suck. So if you lived in a more cramped place than where I am, where we have these big open roads, then I can understand it could get pretty annoying just trying to maneuver it and park it and all that kind of stuff, because sometimes I literally have to just like try 3 different times to get into a parking space. And I'm not a bad parker, I'm not a bad driver, it's just the truck is pretty wide, and so that does get in the way a little bit. So I would say first off, with this like around town stuff, it's pretty good, but it's definitely not the best truck that you could buy for just around town driving. I feel like there's some other trucks that would just be a lot better for that. Well, we are getting an acceleration here onto the highway, and then we're obviously also going to talk about driving on the highway as well. And of course, now we run into a little bit of traffic. Yeah, I mean, getting up to highway speeds in the Raptor is super easy. I mean, it just goes pretty much right up to speed. Now, the one thing I will not mention is, so getting from like 0 to 60, the Raptor is super solid. And compared to just most other vehicles, you have tons of passing power. It's really easy to get up to speed, all that kind of stuff. But once you get above 60 miles an hour, it kind of dies off a little bit. But then once you get above 80 miles an hour, that's when it really dies off, and where you still can kind of pass people, but you just don't have as much passing power. Now, most places obviously won't have speed limits that high. Utah's a little bit different, where some of the speed limits are a little bit higher, but it just depends on where you live. Now, the rest of the stuff on the highway, ride quality is actually pretty smooth still, but you definitely do feel some of the bumps, and the Raptor does kind of move around a little bit with the wheel itself. So because it has such wide tires, it'll track a little bit. And then also the suspension itself will kind of, if the road is uneven at all, it'll kind of dip one side to the other. You'll notice that a lot just with the steering wheel. Even when you're driving around town, it will actually happen. But other than that, I mean, it's been super comfortable to drive on the highway. The noise itself is okay. You do get quite a bit of wind noise. Tire noise is actually almost non-existent. There is some, but it's pretty minimal. Most of the noise you get is going to be wind noise, which you'd expect because it's a truck and it's higher up off the ground. But just like I said earlier in the video, this isn't the best on-road vehicle. And I mean, I know that I use it for my daily driver and I drive it on the road all the time, but there's other trucks that are just smoother on road, that accelerate pretty much as quickly. And so if you were never to take the Raptor off-road, then it almost doesn't make sense to get this if you're just using it as an on-road truck. It does the job, but it's not the best at doing it. I thought I'd use this area because you got the mountains in the background, and I think you guys will enjoy the view out the front here while we talk about, I guess, some of the issues that I've had with the truck, which I don't really call them issues. It's just learning from the ownership experience is a better way for me to put it. So the first thing that, I shouldn't say the first thing that came about, but the most recent thing that came about obviously was the truck shaking, and that was because I've never had this issue before with any vehicle off-roading it, and I had so much mud in the rear wheels, you guys remember that, caused the truck to shake. So that was just something, I guess, like a learning experience thing with the truck itself. And then that was also associated with the check engine light that I got that was from a misfire. Still haven't had any new check engine lights pop up, haven't had any issues with the truck. It's running perfectly. I really think that that was the issue. I think that the truck shaking so violently, and I couldn't capture it on camera, sadly, like it was shaking so bad that it was like painful to be in the truck. I'm pretty sure that caused something to happen. But I mean, other than that, so far, I mean, I've got 4,400 miles on it in, I mean, less than what, I mean, it's only been about 4 months. And so, yeah, I mean, with all these miles that I have on it, I'm surprised that it hasn't had any issues. I mean, I've jumped it probably about 40 different times now, taken it off-road a bunch. I drive it really aggressively, and it's been flawless so far. I know that people have said there's certain things with the Raptor from a reliability standpoint, but from my experience at this point, I know that my miles are low, but from my experience at this point, the truck is super solid, and it's done better than what my Rebel did prior. And I think that a big portion of that is this truck is really dedicated to being an off-road vehicle, whereas the Rebel was just bumpers and some tires and a little bit of upgraded shocks. So because I wasn't fully dedicated to being an off-road vehicle, it just couldn't handle it as well as what this Raptor can handle it. So I guess the problem section of this truck is just nothing so far, nothing serious. But when I do an update at a later date, maybe something will come up, hopefully not. But so far, the truck has been great. Well, this is the fun part where we talk about where the Raptor really should be, and that's on the off-road, of course. This is just where the Raptor really shines. Like, it's good on-road, but it's amazing on the off-road. Like, it's just, everything about it on the off-road is so exciting. It's so precise for a truck, and the suspension just handles everything so well. And where it's a little bit bumpy on the on-road, I mean, off-road, it's perfect. The shocks absorb everything so well. And so in situations where in a regular truck, you're just gonna bottom out and you're just gonna hit so hard, the Raptor's so smooth through it. And I mean, I hope you guys can see that here. Like, yeah, I'm bouncing around all over the place, but if I tried anything like this in just a normal truck that didn't have the same suspension, I would just be jarring all over the place, whereas this truck is taking it so well. It's so fun, and kind of killing my co-pilot a little bit. But I just hope you guys can, I hope I can at least somewhat convey to you guys just how amazing this is on the off-road. And that's what you need to do with the Raptor if you buy it. You have to take it on the off-road. It has so much power that it's just perfect. I mean, I never feel like I need more power when I'm on the off-road. When I'm on-road, yeah, maybe occasionally, because I feel like I could be faster at a traffic light. But when I'm at the off-road here, I never have that feeling. I feel like I have too much power sometimes. Like, there's certain situations where I'm like, okay, this is way too much, but it's a perfect balance. And I think the best part about the Raptor is, even if you're not the best driver, like, I don't feel like I'm an amazing off-road driver. This truck turns me into an amazing off-road driver because of how good it is on the off-road. Like, you just don't have to be good at all, and it just works. Like, look at this. And it handles all of it so beautifully. Yeah, and I hope I can convey this to you guys, that if you buy a Raptor or an off-road vehicle, take it off-road, enjoy it for what it was built for, right? This is built to go off-road. This is built to jump. And if you don't buy this, or sorry, I say this, if you buy this and you don't do that with it, then you're wasting your money and obviously your time as well. So, I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I thought I would kind of end the rest of the stuff on this video today over in this area because, I mean, as you guys can see, it's so beautiful here just to see like the snow on the mountains, but then next to kind of like the western grass. I don't know what else to call it. Like, it's the grass you see everywhere when you actually go outside of the places that are watered, obviously by people instead of natural happenings. But yeah, I mean, just everything about this truck is awesome. It's so much fun to drive. And like I said earlier in the video, I think that this truck just really shines on the off-road, and it's very capable on-road. It's a very comfortable vehicle that you could very comfortably daily drive, no problem at all. But if you're not going to off-road this truck and you're not going to use it for what it was built for, I don't think it's worth spending $70,000+ on, because there's so many other trucks that would just do a much better job. People are crazy out here. You see that? Like, I'm on my side of the road and then they're in the middle of the road. But anyways, I just feel like there's so many other options that are just so much a much better value on road. Like my Rebel, for example, I only paid about $44,000 for that. Well, less than that even. I paid less than $40,000 for that truck, and it was more comfortable on road. Had a little bit of a nicer interior. The Hemi sounds good. It didn't have as much power as the Raptor, but it was quick enough. And so that truck, and obviously I could take that off-road, like it has some off-road capability. And so that truck in my mind is a better value if you're not gonna off-road your truck, or if you're, you know, gonna do a little bit of off-roading, but not that regular. That makes more sense. But if you're really serious about off-roading, and if you're gonna use the Raptor's capabilities, right, you're gonna jump it, and you want it something you can take off-road pretty much every single weekend like I do, or sometimes I even take it multiple times during the week, then that's where the Raptor's really gonna shine. And that's where you're gonna get your money's worth, is by using the truck for what it's meant for. Because yeah, it's a blast, but it's only a blast when you use it for what it's meant for. And I know that I sound like a broken record to an extent, but I really truly mean that. And so yeah, if you are thinking about buying a Raptor, make sure you use it before you go and spend 70 grand. Well, this is the part where I'm going to cap things off for the video. And if you guys have ever wondered how thumbnails are created, well, gotta kind of find some cool scenery like this. Got the Raptor perched up there, mountains in the background. But what is really cool is just over here. So give me a second to get over there. Man, I had to walk all the way from over here to get over here. But this is what's cool. Just like, look at the view with the sun. And yes, this is ugly, stagnant water here in Utah, but it looks really cool with the sun. And the Raptor over there, yeah, it looks pretty cool perched up on top of all of it. So yeah, cool view. But regardless of that, I hope this helped you out, especially if you are looking to purchase a Raptor, so it gives you a better idea of what the truck's really meant for. And I know that it might seem kind of silly, like of course it's meant for the off-road, but I see way too many people purchase these trucks and never take them off-road, which in my mind is just a complete waste of money. But anyways, I will see all of you in that next video.
And look at this rock! I think that's all the rocks. Oh, look at this rock. Can we take it home?
If you want.
I have pet rock.
Show me what you have.
Oh, look at that. Look at this one. Look.
It's right next to poop.
Ew. Where's that?
Isn't that poop?
No. I don't know.
Oh.
Look at this one has sparkles on it.